Hi, guys. I'm Nina,
I'm Jamie.
and we are Bloody Essentials. Unfortunately, Ethan can't be with us tonight. He's spending some long overdue time with his family. So please be patient with us. He should be back next week. But yeah, we all need time with our family and friends, especially, right now. So yeah, just we miss you, Ethan. We love you, and we can't wait to see you back here next week.
We love you, but we're going to be taking over this podcast tonight. But we can't wait till you come back.
Yes. And I'm sure Ethan is thinking his losses
Yes, I know. Oh my gosh.
because we'll explain here in a moment.
Yeah,
But
we'll get into
first,
it.
yeah. But first, we just want to thank our Patreon members, Rick and Swift. Guys, thank you so much for all you do for us. Just, inviting us to be part of your podcast, coming on to ours. Like horror friendships are just so special. So thank you guys so much for being more than just Patreon members, but also really good friends.
You guys are awesome, and you got great taste in movies. So thank
Yeah, you
you.
do. And also, thank you, Rick, for coming to the dark side for Italian
Yeah.
horror.
Ooh.
Yeah. Upcoming appearances, we will be at Chicago Horror Film Festival May 15th through the 18th. So you do not want to miss that. That is 4 days of nonstop indie horror, and it is going to be phenomenal
Oh, that's going to be so fun.
for sure. All right, let's get into it. Okay, Jamie. So tonight we are actually doing our very first Mario Bava movie. All right. What
Ah.
First off, what sets Mario Bava apart from the other Italian directors?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think Mario Bava is kind of criminally underrated. I mean, if you know, you know, but he doesn't get talked about as much as some of the other great Italian horror directors. And he was a lot of inspiration for those directors. So he just had like a beautiful way of doing things. He was director of photography a lot on his own movies, so you can see his cinematic prowess and genius in a lot of his films. He also did a lot of the co-writing. He did some of the special effects, so he was a virtuoso, could do so many different things. And I think when it comes to giallos, he really kind of set the tone for them. He wasn't as gory as a lot of our other Italian directors. This movie that we're going to talk about tonight is one of his gorier entries, but I just think he had a classic kind of feel about the things that he did, and he inspired a lot of people, but doesn't necessarily get his fair due, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I would 100% agree. And also, American directors drew heavily from him, and we will definitely be getting into that.
Yeah. His influence is pretty widespread. And again, that's why I'm always like, man, I feel like he really never got credit for the mastermind that he was and the masterpieces that he's created. Even some of his movies that are not quite as much horror, but are more like just drama or mystery, those are even really, really good. So love you,
Yeah.
Mario Bava. Can't wait to gush about you some more.
Gosh. And tonight we will be covering Bay of Blood. So I'm really excited about this one. This is my very first Mario Bava movie, and it was a delight.
Ah, this is your first Bava movie.
Very first,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, I'm so glad that we're discussing this one. And I'm glad it was your first one because, like I said, it's one of his gorier ones. And I think it was actually a really important proto slasher. We'll kind of get into that as we go
Yeah.
along. But it was pretty inspirational. And considering it came out in 1971, it predates a lot of our big bad boys, in the slasher genre, even
Oh,
Black
yeah.
Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Which is insane because, well, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. Highly influential movie if you haven't seen it, guys. It also goes by a bunch of different fun names, and that's fun.
Which is a trademark for Italian horror, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
All right. So let's get into plot points, Jamie.
Okay, now before I get into this, I will say I did take, a lot of notes on this. There is definitely a plot. It gets a little bonkers, and most giallos are more about the aesthetic, the kills, the fashion. So plot. I'm just gonna add that note there right at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
So the movie kicks off with just wheelchair murder goodness. Oh my
Okay.
God. This opening sequence is incredible.
Okay.
Nina, you have something to say? Say it.
There's so many things. Okay,
I
first
know.
off, the font for the opening credits. Holy cow, can we talk about font for just a second? Like, it's
Yes.
so minute, but it is gorgeous.
Oh, it's
It's
so
so
beautiful.
gorgeous. Yes. Very 60s, 70s theatrical. The music from the opening scene, it's very spooky, and also very mysterious. I love the drums, and
Yes.
you hear it throughout the film, which is great. The cinematography with the countess with the woman in the wheelchair, it's fabulous. Like, you're just zooming in on the wheelchair and like, hey, she's in a wheelchair. Like, it's so great. And the sweeping musical score, I made a note of this, like during this scene in particular, because she's just like very forlorn looking out the window and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but this music during this sequence in particular just screamed Brian De Palma, like Carrie, Dressed to Kill kind of era.
Yes.
Pino Donaggio did the score for both of those films, and it's like I almost was like, did he do the score for this? He did not, but that would have been really cool if he had.
The score is amazing. It's got this like, yeah, it's very kind of like, it's got like this spooky romantic kind of like
Yeah,
feel to it. It's very like cinematic, so it like
yeah,
kind of matches perfectly with like the scene that we're getting. I love like the look on her face too, because there's a shot on her face and you can see like pain or some kind of despair, and she sits at the window and there's the rain on the window and you see it from outside the window and then back inside, like,
it's so
whoo,
beautiful. Yes, and
cinematography wise, it's like stunning, just crazy good.
yeah, and I love how the wheel is like sputtering in the distance, and it's like click, 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 and I'm like, oh, it's such a little thing, but it really sets the scene for you. And it is really hard to fake like a hanging slash strangulation, and oh, they nailed it. They nailed it.
They totally did. So, our countess, as we're introduced to her in this beautiful scene, she lasso basically appears, she gets hung, the wheelchair gets kicked out from under her. And like again, the details, like you can see her feet like kind of like moving and dangling. Like I love all the perfect attention to detail. And it's great. You actually have like a nice there's some nice POVs that happen in here too. And like I was saying about like it being a big proto slasher, like the POV work in this movie has definitely been replicated and
So many
homaged
times.
many, many times. And like I said, Mario Bava just had a tendency to like set the tone and the pace for like film in a little quiet way.
Yes. Yeah. Friday the 13th,
Big
Halloween,
time.
like Black Christmas, literally just picked up and plopped into those films. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. So our countess, gets murdered and it's in all its beauty. And then, we see that there's a man, and that is Filippo Donati. I think that's his
Donati,
name.
yeah.
Donati.
Yeah.
And we have this perfect black glove reveal that just makes me like
When you
fangirl out.
see it, yes. When you see
It's
it in a giallo, it's like, ah!
Yeah, so perfectly Jalo. He has his black gloves that he's has, and he leaves a suicide note to make it look like she, offed herself. And then to make things like bonkers crazy, we're gonna start with the killer be killed that happens throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Filippo is then stabbed from behind by somebody.
So crazy. Like, you get this reveal of the killer, and it's like, oh my God, we already know our killer? No, we do not. No, no,
Nope.
no. Nope.
We don't know because he's dead now. And I love the blood. It's got that very 70s, like the consistency is thick and the color is bright. And it is like
Right.
my favorite kind of blood ever in a horror movie. And you get
Yes.
to see a lot of it like come out of his mouth and stuff. It's good.
I love how he's positioned directly under her, facing up, so he has to look at her when he dies. It's so amazing.
Again, all those little details, very, very attention to detail in this movie.
For sure.
So next, we kind of go to another couple of people. We're introduced to a sexy blonde, Laura, and this real estate asshole, Frank Ventura. They're lounging in bed, having some post, hangout talk, having a little flirtation. And we kind of learn that, that's his secretary that he's having a little affair with. And they are talking about the Countess's death. And he is going to go to the Bay because he wants the Bay for himself. And I just have to stop for a minute on the cinematography of this scene as well, because again, speaking to the De Palma of it all, there is that kind of natural split screen because, you have like a bookshelf or some kind of bookcase that's kind of between the bedroom and the man. And so we get kind of that natural split screen there, which I freaking loved.
Love it so much.
Okay. So next we kind of go back to the Bay and we have this guy, Simon, and he's messing around with this octopus, which pops up several times in the movie. And I'm like, what does that mean? What's the symbolism there? I don't know, but he's in his boat with the octopus.
I want to know. I want to know so bad.
I know. And we get these other great shots of Simon is basically being watched. There's binoculars, and then we get a really good POV through the binoculars, which is like such a treat.
So fun.
Simon has this conversation with the resident bug man, Paulo. He's trying to catch this bug that he swears remembers him, and they're kind of going back and forth on that. And we get a little bit, there's a lot of red herrings that are put forth in this movie, and it starts pretty early on. Simon is actually telling Paula that, just to kill things for killing's sake, you're a monster. When I kill fish and octopus, maybe, I eat them, but what you do, you're a monster. And as the audience, you're like, ooh, I'm going to remember that about this guy, right? I mean, that's sus.
Right, exactly. Another red herring, though, right?
Exactly. Okay. And we kind of go back to Frank a little bit. Frank Ventura, he's the one who wants the Bay. We just learn a little bit more about, kind of the background there. He wants the Bay. He wants to develop it, yada, yada. He's not really a good guy in this movie.
No, obviously. I mean, he's sleeping with a secretary.
Yeah. So he's one of our bad guys, folks. Okay.
There are many.
Yeah. Then we have the I said hot hippies alert. We have our group of 4 hot hippies, and they're taking this fun cruise in their yellow car and their cute outfits. I have to say that I love Brunhilde's velvet green mini dress and yellow panties. That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty iconic. Yeah.
So iconic. I love it so much. So they're just going on a little fun cruise, and they stumble upon, the seemingly kind of deserted mansion / dance club that they go to. They have a fun, little dance there and everything. I think this is where we get this first little fun. We get this eyeball shot where our killer is kind of watching, and it's so Black Christmas. That was I was like, whoa, that's so Black Christmas with this eyeball looking and watching through. I think kind of a wicker wall or something like that.
Isn't it crazy the things that you think are iconic in one movie and then you see it in a movie that came out earlier and it's like, oh my God.
And you're like, oh, this is where this is where that inspiration probably came from. And they do it a couple times, and it's really good.
And it's like these movies that you initially thought they came up with the idea, they're so iconic on their own that it's like, why does no one talk about this movie? It's a crime.
I know, it really is a crime.
Yeah.
Okay, then we get to these beautiful tarot cards, and it's this close-up, of the cards and this woman's intricate rings. Again, I love those close-up kind of detail shots that happen a lot in this movie.
She's beautiful. I love her makeup, very hooded looking eyes, and she if anybody was born to be a tarot card reader, this is the woman. She's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is Anna, I believe her name is. I had to look everybody up. What a blue eyeshadow moment, which is already an iconic thing in horror movies, and maybe this kicked it off too, Jeez, kicking off everything. But yeah, she's awesome. And she is the wife of her buggy hubby, Paulo. and she feels something's going to happen. You know, she's like, there's going to be tears over the bay. And that's when we kind of learn that Paulo like hates Frank Ventura because of his plans for the bay. He has
Yes.
tried to buy the bay from the Countess in the past, and he wants to develop it. And Paulo is not into that because, I mean, the bugs. Where are the
Yeah.
bugs going to go?
They're gonna die, and that's not okay. Only he can kill the bugs.
Exactly. So our teens, you know, we go back to our teens at play. They're having a grand old time. Our girl in the green dress is gonna slide into that disgusting pool, and the guy is like, "No, no, no, you can't do that." And I'm like, "This man, thank you, sir." Like, no, she can't. That's horrible. Don't do it, girl. They decide to break into the, you know, the mansion and get in, yada yada. And then Brunhilde has that classic, the feminine urge to skinny dip during the middle of a horror movie, you know?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Alone in the bay? Mm-mm. You don't know what's in there. Apparently, there's octopus. Like, no,
I
no.
know, I know. And this is like one of those horror movie tropes, you know, that pops up pretty frequently that I'm always like, yes, yes, now is the appropriate time to skinny dip. Right now. Yes.
I will say props to them because they didn't just do waist up shots, they did it all.
Oh, yeah,
So,
you see everything, folks.
in case guys aren't that interested in Italian horror, you should
Hey,
be.
I know. There you go. Just
There's
one
a
more
little
reason.
yes, there's a little something for everybody. That's what makes it so great.
Exactly. You know, so Brunhilde goes on her skinny dip and she ends up getting this rope kind of stuck to her foot. And attached to that rope is the dead body of Filippo. And
Oh,
his dead hand, because he floats up, his dead
this
hand like touches her butt. And
creeps,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh,
It's so cute. I love
I-
it so much.
it's pretty perfect. You know, she gets up, full frontal run here. There's an awesome shot of from above at one point, which is amazing and so cool. They totally take you to a different perspective.
Oh, the chase sequence cinematography is incredible. Absolutely
So good.
breathtaking. Yeah.
It's so good. I love a good chase scene too, and this one is really fun. You know, she's like
Yeah.
running up the stairs. She's like looking back behind her. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And then we have, you know, Akil. She gets kind of this crazy blade. I don't even know what you would call that.
I just put a knife in my notes, but it's not just a knife. It's a knife, but it has like a hook and like end. I think it might be a fishing knife,
Um,
maybe. Yeah,
maybe.
that's what I guess because they are near the bay. But yeah, it's a knife that it has a little hook. So when
Yeah.
when the killer is chasing, we don't know who it is at this point. Uh, the knife, we see the knife extend and like wrap around her throat and then slit it, and you get the up close shot. Gorgeous. That blood.
I know. It's my favorite kind of blood. And the whole sequence is really great. And she dies in this kind of crazy position with her like knees up and she kind of like rides on the ground a little bit and before she dies. So it's all really good.
It's amazing, yeah. And I love the sunset shot after. Like it's so beautiful and um yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know if you knew about this, Jamie, but the tree branches, like there weren't a lot of trees where they were filming. So like the fact that he made it look like it was actually wooded area, like it's incredible.
Again, very like master of cinematography. I'm trying to remember. I read a little bit of his background in photography too, but like he just
Yeah.
he has a good eye. And Mario Bava often worked with really small budgets and made
Mhm.
them look like they were cost like so much more than they actually did.
Yeah.
Very master.
So brilliant.
So meanwhile, our teens at the house are having a groovy break-in dance party, and that's pretty fun. And of course, then we get this really great kill with Bobby. That's his name. We were trying to figure this out.
Yes,
Um,
because Jamie and I deducted that Italian movies don't care about the names of the people in them, but as long as you know the kills, you're good.
yeah, and then this one is particularly sometimes they call characters by their first name, sometimes they call them by their last name. So you
Yes.
have to be like, sometimes they'll call Frank Frank, and sometimes they'll call him Ventura. That's the
Yes.
same person. So I'm like, Frank Ventura, same guy. Okay. We just
Yeah.
use different
I
names.
think we got to like the final act before I finally realized Ventura's first name was Frank. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to keep track of all the names.
Yeah.
But Bobby gets a great kill. He gets this like he gets like that same knife, I think,
Yeah.
to the face.
And it
Oh,
goes in, like it indents at least what, an inch or two into the head. It's
oh yeah.
incredible.
Oh,
Like I've never seen a kill like that actually goes that deep into somebody's face. It
I
was
know.
masterful.
I know. It's so much more than just like a knife to the face. It really, really is.
Yeah.
And the killer even like removes the knife from the face, which is like I like love that. And like he kind of even rolled the body over kind of thing. So I love that little detail. And like the face looks great when he takes the knife out of it.
And this is my favorite moment with the blood. Like I don't know why, but this is my favorite shot of the blood. It's so perfect. I think just because it's like dripping on the floor and it's great.
Oh, that blood is just it's again, it's like almost like it's got like a paint kind of consistency to it almost. And it's my favorite. It's my favorite
Yeah.
kind of horror movie blood. And then, of course, like, we have had a skinny dip, but we have not had a couple doing it yet. So we got to throw that in there too. And so we have the other couple and they're, getting it on. And we have another really infamous kill that I know we have seen like homaged at least before a couple times.
Definitely once, and I'll get into that in fun
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah, definitely. But we get this great I love this moment so much. So we get this spear that's like coming up behind them. You don't see who the killer is. It goes POV at some points too. And you get the beautiful like double impale, like mid coitus, like kill, like shish kebab, like both of them. They kind of squirm around a little bit more before like she like slumps and is dead. And it's such a great moment.
Literally kills both of them with one spear in the bed. Sound familiar?
Right? I know. Does it remind you of any other iconic kill from a iconic franchise? We'll get into
That
it.
happens on a specific day?
Yeah, I wonder what it could be. Um, so really great moment to see that like for the first time and like kind of like go through your horror discography where you're like, oh, I know I've kind of seen this before. Okay,
Yeah.
now I know. Um,
Incredible. Incredible.
I know. So then next, because we got to add some more dimension and characters and bonkersness to this whole situation with the Bay, we have two more characters. We have Renata and her hubby Albert, and they're leaving their kids behind in an RV, and they're kind of arguing about like parenting a little bit, like, well, we shouldn't leave them, but we gotta go. Got stuff to do. And they drive up to the mansion. They end up meeting up with Paulo
Mhm.
and Anna, his cool wife. And we start to learn some new interesting information. Turns out that Renata is actually Filippo's daughter. Okay.
Oh.
And she's suspicious about this whole suicide of the Countess. She's suspicious about like what's going on with her father because people don't really 100% know he's dead yet.
He's just
Um,
missing at this point.
he's
Yeah.
just missing at this point. Anna is also like agreeing with that theory where she's like, nah, there's no way she committed suicide. She loved her money, she loved this, like, there's no way she would have done that.
Yeah.
Paulo is kind of getting a little judgy where he's like, he had his vices, yada yada. I'm really suspicious, aren't I? Um, we learn that Renata really wants to inherit the Bay for herself. So she is
Mhm.
another person who has a vested interest in the Bay.
Mhm.
Um, but then to throw even more, drama into the mix, turns out that the Countess had an illegitimate son, Simon, that she hid, and everything and was ashamed of. But that would make him a natural heir to the Bay and the estate and everything. And we can't have that, can we?
Definitely not, because the Countess was the one that owned the bay, not, uh, what's his face?
Filippo.
Filippo. So technically,
Yes.
Renata has no claim to the bay.
Exactly. It would be the son of the Countess.
Yep.
Paulo is made to look really, really red herring in these moments. You know, even his wife, like, kind of is like looking at him like sus, where it's like, this guy's a red herring for sure.
Oh yeah.
One of many. Renata and Albert, you know, decide to go talk to Simon. And we get this amazing reveal of Frank's dead. I'm sorry, not Frank. Filippo's. So many names.
Yeah.
Filippo's dead body in Simon's boat with that damn octopus on his face. I love the reveal of the body. Renata's over here like, woo, and you know, I'm like, there's the octopus again.
Okay, can I just say, like, I actually love octopus, like,
I do
outside of
too.
this movie, so it was really cool to see one in such a big role in a horror film. I'm like, "Ooh, it's, like, sucking on the dead body," like,
I
how
know.
scandalous and fun, like,
I know. I actually like you know, I love octopus too. They're fascinating animals. I have a painting my friend made for me years ago of one in my house. They're
aw.
so cool. And I will say, like, Simon just pulls that octopus and like throws it back into the
Just
bay, and I'm
yeah,
like, come on now. Be nice to the
yeah,
animals, okay?
right? He's so cute.
I know. Just doing his thing. Okay. So dead Filippo, he's dead for sure. Deader than dead.
Yeah,
Very dead.
but hey,
Okay.
Rennie has a body now, so there's that. That's all she
That's
needs.
helpful. Yeah,
Yeah.
because, you know, that's helpful. So they at that point, they go to Frank's, and there's a moment where Rennie goes to the bathroom to get some water, and we have this incredible reveal.
Talk about an old school, like, instead of the bodies just falling from, like, wherever, like, the closets or whatever, like, the light turns on and it's like, "Ooh, there they are," and they're covered
Uh
in blood, so great, oh my god, and I love
yeah,
how the camera pulls in and out on her face, like, so great.
no. They do a lot of really good face shots in this and Italian horror in general. Like zooming in on the eyes or the face is like a really common thing that you see, but it's done really, really, really well here.
Yeah.
So you know, she finds the dead hippies and they're beautiful, and Frank is there and he attacks. She's fighting back and she grabs these scissors and kind of stabs him through like a glass panel.
Yeah, what a great shot. Oh,
Oh,
I know we keep
so
saying
cool.
that, but seriously, it's a great shot. Like, it's really hard to fake glass breaking, and it's not just regular glass, it's stained glass. So it's
I
like
know.
great.
Just amazing stuff. We'll
Yeah.
keep saying how great the cinematography is, guys, because it is, okay?
That's just something
um,
about Italian horror. They don't make it like that anymore.
they don't. Everything is beautiful. Every screenshot could be like a beautiful, horrible picture on your wall, you know, but
Yes.
gorgeous. Okay. So, you know, Paulo had actually kind of witnessed this whole thing. So he tries to call the police. I think it was funny that he had to look up the number in a phone book when it was like a 3-digit, like almost 911, but not 911 because they're in
Yeah.
Italy. But I'm like, oh, okay. It was like 399 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, good thing
Should
for phone books.
yeah. Oh, darn.
Yeah. And so anyway, while he's trying to make this call to the police, we have Albert come in and strangle him. So there goes one of our red herrings killed.
I love how there's, like, a close-up on his face, and, like, his head just slowly falls towards the camera, like, I've never seen this done before, Jamie, and it's, like, it's so subtle, and it's, like, many people are like, "Why would you need that?" But it's, like, it's extra dramatic, and
Yes.
it just adds emphasis, like, he's done.
He's dead, y'all. He is dead.
Yeah, it's
And you thought he might be the killer, didn't you guys? Well, not in this little twisty murder mystery. No
not
way.
nope, Agatha Christie wouldn't even know what hit her.
No way. Okay. His wife, meanwhile, Anna, our awesome tarot lady, who's probably one of my favorite characters in the movie, she is watching Simon's shed while all this is going on. And then we get an amazing, amazing decapitation. Nina, I'll let you take it away a little bit on this one. I don't want to explain all of
Guys,
them.
you have not seen a decapitation until you've seen this one. Like,
So
it's
good.
seriously like her head comes off and the camera is just stuck on the neck cavity, and you see everything. You see
Everything.
the bone, the tissue, like the detail on just that one shot. I like, and it looks so anatomically correct. Like, I seriously thought it was a real corpse. Like, if I hadn't known better, like, I was like, you killed her. Like,
I know.
show me the death certificate. I don't believe that. I was
I
like, I don't
know.
believe that she didn't die. Like, there's no way. That's incredible.
It's like, is this a documentary? Like, because that has to be real.
It was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. Like, I
We
can't even begin to explain how gorgeous it was.
I know. We love a good decapitation around here, folks, and this one definitely ranks up there pretty high. So, if you
Yeah.
like decapitations, check it out.
Well, normally when you see a decapitation, you focus in on the head. You don't think about the body.
I
And
know.
oh, this one, the head just came clean off and you see everything.
So good. Okay, and Renata, is like, cool, like no witnesses. That's great. Yeah, I killed that guy Frank, and everything, and but now we got to take care of Simon. He's the one that we got to kill here, okay?
And it's like, I get it, but also he'd be a really good scapegoat for all of this. Like, how do they plan on explaining all of this? You got dead bodies in one house, dead bodies in another house. Like, you could easily just pin it on the crazy guy down by the bay
In the shed.
that has all of these weapons on hand. That's
Mhm.
admitted to killing people in the past, like,
Yep.
or killing in general, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Just wanted to thank all of you guys for listening and supporting the podcast. If you haven't already, please follow us, like us, leave us a review. Little things like this can really help the podcast out so much. Also, if you want to hear your name mentioned in our episodes at the beginning and receive fun little goodies from the entire Bloody Essentials team, you can join our Patreon. It's 100% like no commitment. All the proceeds go back into the podcast. It helps us upgrade our recording equipment, our editing software, all those good things. And it also helps pay for our travel expenses with our upcoming appearances. So that can add up really fast, but we're looking to hopefully expand to other conventions and going to other states to see spooky attractions. So funds like that will help significantly. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but before we can actually like start receiving funds through YouTube and things like that, as horror creators, we need at least 500 followers on YouTube. So if you aren't already following us, but you listen to us and you really like our content, please like us, subscribe. It really helps out so much, and it allows us to keep doing what we're doing. So we love bringing horror to you each week, whether it's content creators, our thoughts on a film. So we really want to keep doing this for as long as possible. And money is unfortunately a big way to stay on top of that. So like I said, all of your support really means a lot, and you get fun little goodies from all of us. We got Bloody Essentials merch, we got horror goodies that we've been saving for you guys, whether it's stickers, horror collectibles, like I'm talking like shirts from your favorite horror companies, Fright Rags, all those good places. And then, of course, we've got some NECA figures and all those kinds of things. So if you want to receive fun horror goodies from your Bloody Essentials crew, join our Patreon. It's going to be a really good time. We also have a Discord channel and unedited episodes before they air. So that's always exciting. And we're hoping to be doing movie parties really soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll get back to the show now.
So we have our sexy secretary Laura pop up for all the fun. And then whoa, Frank is still alive. He didn't die. He's still alive.
I also love how we have to reintroduce a character that's been gone the entire movie. Like, hey, remember this person?
Yeah, remember her from the beginning? Yeah, she's
Yeah.
back now. She goes to get help from Simon, because since Frank is, in bad shape, Simon is pissed. He closes the door and she's all like, uh-oh. And he's like basically on to them about their whole plot. to get rid of the Countess so that they can get the bay, that they were working with Filippo on this whole plot to kill his mom, and that the Countess had basically refused to sell. We get some good little flashbacks of her being like badass and being like, no, I'm not going to sell it to you.
And how cool, because you never see, like, the opening actress have that many scenes, right? Like, she normally has the one and she's done.
Yeah.
But you get to really see her acting ability shine through in these moments, and she's phenomenal. She's got real gumption. I love her.
I know, and such good face. That woman gives such good face. So I'm glad that we got to see her a little bit more post death scene too.
Yeah.
So Laura actually had taken her diary, the Countess's diary, when her and Frank had gone there trying to convince her to sell. She took that, which kind of gave Frank the idea to, pin the death on suicide.
Mhm.
Let's see. And so Laura's basically saying, hey, though, it wasn't my fault. Like, it was Frank. It was all Frank's idea, and I was scared. And, she had to seduce Filippo and be this whole
Yeah.
big part of this plot. Simon's not buying it. He's pissed. He's trying to kill her. She takes some hot boiling water, throws it on his face, which is pretty great, but he still strangles her.
And yeah, it's great. I love how she's just like, I didn't know what they were gonna do to her. Like, yes, you did. Shut up.
I know. It's like, come on. You
Yeah.
were a part of this, girl. You were a part of this.
Yeah. I love Simon.
I do too. He can't celebrate too much though. Simon can't, really like celebrate too much.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Albert's still around and he spears him to the wall, which is also something that obviously impacted other movies. He's trying to kind of fight back. He like spits up some blood, which looks really awesome. And we get this beautiful shot of him kind of like speared into the wall.
Yeah. And just like leaning over the spear, kind of. And it's poor Simon. Like, he's just like literally just guilty by association. Like, it's total bullshit.
Yeah. And he
Like,
was tricked, Frank was like, sign these documents, so that we have the bay. And, he was definitely like screwed over.
for
And
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lights kind of go out. There's a cool sequence where Albert is lighting these matches to see, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool look.
You also don't see darkness being filmed very well in modern movies. So, like, anytime we can point out when an older movie did it better, I'm just like, hello, take it from the experts here, please.
I know. 1971, guys. It was a dark scene, but we could see everything that was happening. Just saying.
Everything we needed to see.
Everything we needed to see, yes.
Yeah.
And then, Frank is still alive. So, the two of them scuffled a little bit, but Albert kills Frank.
I love, though, the suspense because Rennie's there and she's watching and she doesn't know who's emerging and she's really hoping that her boy is alive and everything. And she's just like, and the audience, like, we don't know either.
We don't know either. Yeah. We don't know who lived.
Yeah. And it could have been either one because when they finally like stand up, like their statures are very similar. So very cleverly done. I was on the edge of my seat.
I know, me too, because you're like, who is it? Who's walking towards her? Is she going to have to kill somebody else now?
Yeah.
Like, or is it Albert? Is there going to be another twist here? Another red herring? Another kill? What is it? And it's him.
Yeah.
And, they're living it up now. They're happy about this. Their plot was super successful. I think they burned up some of the documents, and they're really, really feeling good about the whole situation. And then we have such an amazing moment, such a great ending, right? They're standing there and we just hear this little like kind of kid voice say mommy, daddy, and then bang, bang, shotgun shots. And you're like, what? And they both fall to the ground dead, Renata and Albert. And as we pan out, we get the two kids in the RV and it was them. They just had the gun and they shot them and they're like, they're really good at playing dead. Let's go frolic in the bay.
Yeah. And what a great thing. Like they're just like, oh, they're just playing. Let's go play in the bay. And it's like, now the bay is safe, which is what the Countess and Simon wanted. And it will forever, hopefully, be safe from the likes of these awful people.
Yes. So it's like crazy because you have this is a movie with multiple killers in it. And
Mhm.
it really spins you around in different directions, trying to make you think like who's really the killer. And it's like, well, everybody's the killer. There's like so many different killers. There's at least like
Three
one.
sets.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's multiple sets, because
There's both couples, and
mhm.
then the countess's husband.
Yep.
So that's 5 right there, and then you also have Simon,
Yep.
technically,
Yep.
and then the kids. So
Yep.
that's 8 killers technically in one
Yeah.
film.
Which
Top
it
that.
which is so bonkers, but I, like, love that about it. Like, I just think the plot of this movie is so bonkers and fun because
Yeah,
you never really know, like, who's gonna get killed next. You never really know, like, who's really the bad guy. Okay, well, obviously, there's, like, multiple bad guys in the
yeah,
situation, and I will say that, again, another example of it being just such an important proto slasher is, like, this idea of, like, a mass number of kills, right? I mean, the
yeah,
teenagers are basically just fodder, like we see in a lot of great slasher movies. They didn't really serve much purpose other than to show us some more kills, like give us a little bit more intrigue. But yeah, that mass kind of body count, that's definitely something that slashers borrowed from or were inspired by. And this movie was considered one of Mario Bava's goriest. I think
mhm.
audiences were pretty disturbed by it when it first came out because of
Oh,
the
yeah.
gore, because of the number of deaths.
Mhm.
So pretty cool, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and, yeah, like, I just love it so much. Like, this is very reminiscent, like, not only of, like, the slashers that we all love from the '70s and '80s, of course, but also, like, Scream, like, you have the mass killers, you don't know who it is, there's all these red herrings, like, and I challenge you, Scream 7, to do as good as Mario Bava. So the ultimate theme of this film is to lock up your firearms and make sure you know where your children are at all times. Yes?
Yes, exactly. They really hit home with that at the end too.
Yeah, they sure
If you're
did.
gonna go on like some kind of like murder thing to get your, inheritance, maybe just don't bring the kids along and leave them in an RV either.
Like, horrible people, but definitely horrible parents, and you don't deserve to be their parents, and they said it best, like, "Oh, they
Yes.
played dead so well."
I know. I just love what an unhappy. Well, I can't even say it's an unhappy ending. It's kind of a happy ending because the people who lived like weren't really good people. Like there's not really a lot of people to root for in this movie per se. I was
Yeah.
rooting for the teens a little bit, but I was also like more rooting for them to die in those beautiful ways. So
Oh, for
you don't
sure.
really root
Yeah.
for anybody in this movie. So it kind of was a happy ending that the
Yeah.
people got what they got from their own children. Like,
For once, the rich people got what they deserve,
yes,
and
that's what you get
we
for being greedy. Okay, guys, being greedy developers is going to get you murdered.
facts, take notes.
Mhm.
Alright, let's get into some fun facts.
Yeah.
Alright, so, the film's low budget resulted in Mario Bava being his own cinematographer. He had to utilize a simple child's wagon for the film's many tracking shots, which can you imagine doing that outdoors?
Oh my gosh. And again, just like the creativity like of that and like just the DIY kind of like, hey, we have what we have. It's not much, but it's going to look like it was so much more expensive. Like how they made it look that good with what they had to use in some cases is like crazy. But it just goes
Yeah,
to show you don't necessarily need money if you have the talent. You can make anything kind of work.
absolutely. This film, as we've said before, is one of Mario Bava's most influential films, and the film that and it's attributed to being the film that started the slasher craze, which is still popular even today. And many fans of the genre consider this the grandfather of the modern slasher.
Yeah. I've heard debate about this. I was reading about it, and some people are like, well, it can't be a slasher if it's a giallo. And I'm like, are you
Why
kidding me?
can't it?
Yeah, I'm like, but giallos are slashers like a lot of the time too. And it's like, okay, it can
Yeah.
be multiple things at once. We don't have to like just stick it in a box and that's the only place that it's going to be allowed to live its
Yeah.
life. Like,
It's like Silence of the Lambs is a psychological thriller, but it's also a mystery. Like,
yeah,
how many times do you look up a movie and you see multiple genres listed under the movie title?
all the time. So I
All the
saw that
time.
there was like debate about this on Reddit and stuff because I was like, "Ooh, I wonder what other people think about its influence." So when I was like doing a little research, I did see that there was a little back and forth on that. I think in general people agree that it's definitely a grandfather of slashers, but I definitely saw a number of people being like, it can't be that because it's a giallo. I don't
Okay.
agree. Everybody's welcome to their own opinions, but I don't agree with that one. I think it's both.
I think it is too, and that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Also, to get into what we were alluding to earlier with the kills, Friday the 13th from 1980 and Friday the 13th Part 2 from 1981 both pay homage to this movie by lifting two murders from it, one from each movie. So you've got the Kevin Bacon kill from Part 1, and then the spear death to the wall, right, Jamie?
Yep.
And it's literally almost shot for shot comparison. If you line them up, it's
Yeah.
literally the exact same. The only difference with the Kevin Bacon kill was he's under the bed instead of above them.
Yep.
But this the spear goes in the same way, guys.
Yep. So definitely like yeah, once you watch Bay of Blood, I think like the connection's pretty immediate. At least it was for
Yeah.
me, where you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, okay."
Yeah. I had it in my notes and then I did the fun facts and I was like, okay, well that makes sense then.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah. As we mentioned earlier, the shooting locations, they didn't actually have woods, so Mario Bava created them by setting up tree branches to pass through the camera shots. Incredible.
My
Incredible.
god.
He brought his own trees.
Oh my gosh. He's like, "We don't have trees. That's okay. I'll bring the trees to the situation. I got this, guys.
Yeah,
I'm Mario Bava. I got this."
it's incredible. Like he brought his own trees before that was even a thing.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Um, Dario Argento loved the film so much that he had a projectionist friend steal a print of the film during its first run in Italy, which is incredible because you
All
always hear
praises.
about how these Italian directors just like were feuding constantly, and I love that.
I do
Um,
too. What a high like compliment to you from Argento, who was pretty inspired by Bava.
oh yeah, and he apparently the theater that ended up showing Hatchet for the Honeymoon, which is also a Bava movie,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, to replace a stolen print for the remainder of the film's run there, which was about a week and a half, according to Argento. And
Wow.
apparently, he possesses the print to this day.
Ah, that is so cool. I love that.
So cool. That's got to be one of his most prized possessions, right?
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, Argento and I think Fulci too, like both had a deep respect for Bava and like what he
Yeah.
brought to it. Like, again, he's kind of like the grandfather of everybody else when it comes to Giallos. He's credited with doing the first Giallo too. So,
How crazy is that?
mhm.
Yeah. This movie is Mario Bava's personal favorite of all the films he ever made. Yeah, which I thought was really sweet.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. It was his
Yeah.
most criticized, I think, too. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of most criticized, I thought this was funny. When Christopher Lee first saw the movie, he was reportedly so disgusted at the level of violence that he left the theater in protest.
Isn't that amazing? Christopher Lee
Aw,
himself was like, "Oh, this is
this is
this
too
is
violent.
horrendous. This is so
Yeah.
violent." And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's so
It's
cool."
amazing, but it also breaks my heart because I like never want to do anything to piss off Christopher Lee.
I know that too because he's so amazing, and I'm
He's so
like, "Oh,
great.
so
Yeah.
amazing."
Um, this film, like many Italian horrors, has many alternative titles. I kept finding them, but some of them were Last House on the Left Part 2, even though Last House on the Left, the original, hadn't even come out yet, which was
Yeah,
so fun.
that's so
Um,
fun.
yeah, so that's one of the big ones that it's credited with. Um, let's see. Mario
Yeah,
Bava, oh, sorry, Jamie.
no, you're okay. It first came to my attention as Twitch of the Death Nerve. And it was because a
Yes.
friend recommended it to me at the time, long time ago, but that's the name that I knew it as first.
I love that, Twitch of the Death Nerve.
How awesome is that? Like, if that isn't a Giallo title, like, I don't know what is. I
I
mean, the
kind
only
of
one I
like
can think
that.
of that I like even better is Your Vice is a locked door and only I have the key. Like, come on.
It's so great. Oh my god. What is that from?
It's a Giallo movie.
That's a Giallo title? An actual
Mhm.
ti Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that one up after because
Yeah, that one's
that's
pretty
like
wild too.
Shakespeare.
I
That's like
know.
Edgar Allan Poe level. Oh,
I know. Like, gosh, I'm like, sign me up. Like, I don't even have to see the movie to like a movie that's named that. Like,
I'm
come on.
so sold. So sold. Mario Bava deeply regretted filming the scene where the bug is pinned alive,
Oh,
and they actually did that. I thought that was
yeah.
really sweet, like, that he felt bad about that.
Me too. I don't know as much about his personal life as I do like Argento or Fulci, but
Sure.
I think that was part of his personality too. I have read that he was a little bit more reserved and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but that is very sweet that he was like, I didn't like that. Made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, which might explain why some of his other movies are less gory.
Yeah,
Yeah. And one final one, I thought this was really cute because I'm a big fan of gimmicks, especially in theaters.
me
A
too.
promotional gimmick that was that every ticket holder was required to pass through the final warning station where a theater worker warned you face to face that this may be the last shock film you ever want to see.
Oh, I did not know that. I am all about horror movie marketing and like especially in the past they really like Hitchcock liked to do a lot of stuff with his movie releases. Other directors really like to do fun
William
stuff.
Castle.
Yes,
Yeah.
stuff that made the audience feel like they had to catch every minute of it, like you didn't want to miss any of it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I wish they did shit like that today. Like, imagine how amazing that'd be to go to a movie and that's what you're told. And you're like, okay, like,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go watch the movie now. Like,
Oh, they need to bring that back. I'm glad that they're doing
please.
more, like, fun promotional things for horror films, like with Smile and all these other
Oh,
things, but
great, great marketing on
great
Smile.
marketing and Smile, but I really want the gimmicks at the theater back, like, let's bring back the shocking seats, like, I want it all.
I do too. Bring back Smellorama. Like I want that immersive experience. Come
Yes.
on. I always love the movie theaters. I'm sad that they've been struggling. The movie theater for my hometown, my second job I ever had closed recently, which breaks my heart. So go support your movie theaters, guys, because otherwise they won't be around. And there's nothing like watching a movie with a group of strangers and just having a good time and having that big screen experience, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And if you can support the locally owned mom and pop theaters that still exist, do that over your AMC's and
Yeah.
Regals. Like those are the ones that have been fighting like through thick and thin all these years. And I get it, the AMC, they got the popcorn bucket and all that crap, but like, do you really need one more thing on your shelf? Like,
Support
yeah,
your local theaters. Yeah.
yes, for sure. All right, Jamie, let's get into rating this movie. I will let you start because this is one of your favorite genres.
Okay, and here's me over here. I'm always a big love fest on everything, and obviously, I think that the love fest is warranted on this one. This one gets a 9 for me. It's like
Okay.
it's one of my very favorite Jallos, and I do think that it is like a quintessential Jallo for people to see. Like if I was Professor Jallo girl and I was like giving a class on Jallos, I would definitely cover this movie because it really kind of set the tone for lots of Jallos after it. Like I said, it has all the classic markers. You got the black glove, you got the who done it kind of mystery, you got the gory kills, you got style and aesthetics. Like it's got everything that you need if you were like, what is a Jallo? What's that all about? And again, it was so influential on so many other movies. Like I think people who know and like give it the credit that it deserves, but I
Yeah.
just don't think that it gets as much recognition as some of the other movies that we hold close to our hearts in horror.
Yeah.
Same with Mario Bava as a director himself, but I love the kills. I love the bonkers kind of, oh, now the killer is killed and now that killer is killed of it all. And yeah, I it's just a gorgeous film to look at. So it's a 9 for me for sure. Not quite a 10, but I guess that's just because I have Jallos I like a little bit better, but it's way up there for me. I mean, it's almost a perfect Jallo.
Yeah,
Probably
I love
is.
that. Okay. This one, I'm only a little bit lower than you, Jamie, okay? I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Yay.
I really enjoyed this movie. This was a very like first time watch for me. I've never seen a Mario Bava movie before, and I'm so glad we finally got a chance to do this one. Um, like for all the reasons we've said before, like cinematography, the music, like I one of my favorite all-time directors is Brian De Palma. And
Oh,
like if you can remind me of a Brian De Palma movie while not watching a Brian De Palma movie, I'm like loving it. And
oh yeah.
the blood, just everything. The twisting, I love a good twist and turn where you really don't see it coming. And I can honestly say I have not had an ending affect me so deeply since watching Night of the Living Dead OG.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, it's a very surprising ending. You're not expecting it. Like, oh, and it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So if that tells you anything about how great I feel this movie is, like you need to watch this film because it is not only what it did for horror, like but also just it on its own is masterful. It is masterclass cinema. Eat your heart out, Alfred Hitchcock. I don't care.
I
But
know.
this movie is fantastic and it's such a shame that more people haven't seen it or heard of it.
Yeah, and like I don't know why Mario Bava is kind of like the lesser talked about of like the three great, Italian maestros. We hear more about Argento and Fulci, who are great. I love them too.
Oh, of
But
course.
yeah, Mario Bava, he was a little bit more like I guess kind of classical, right? Like he was a little bit
Yeah.
more came from an earlier world of cinema, I feel like, and brought a lot of those elements to his movies. I think the next one you should watch, Nina, is Blood and Black Lace, because that's also very, very Giallo. It takes place in a fashion house. I mean, come
That
on.
that one's been on my radar for a long time, and I think tonight might be the night. Yeah,
That's the one you
I'm
need to watch next. I'm telling you.
okay. Yeah, no, seriously, like I love old movies and I'm not afraid to shout it from the rooftop. So I think maybe that's why I like Baba so much because he definitely has a different kind of aesthetic that is
Yeah,
going for him. Like Fulci is just gritty and grimy and I love it.
I do
But like
too.
there's a time and place for that and you can only have so much of that in a day, right? And then Argento is just so like there's so much symbolism and beauty and all the horror and that's great, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah. Again,
But
Mario Bava's more just like that classical kind of like
yeah,
coming from a different era of cinema.
yeah, and very digestible.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And who cares if you can't remember the characters' names? Nobody cares about any of these characters in these slasher movies. That's why it's a slasher.
I know. And again, like none of these characters are really like super good guys. I mean,
Yeah,
even the people who I guess were good guys, which would be like Paulo and Anna,
yeah,
they're still presented as weirdos and like red herrings, like pretty much the whole time till they die. So,
yeah,
don't really nobody's really a good character in this per se, except for some of the people who, well, maybe the Countess.
yeah. But you know
But
what?
she
Like
wasn't good
that's
to Simon necessarily. So
exactly. She was a horrible mom. So it's like,
yeah.
But I mean, who cares if they're all bad people? Like that's
Yeah.
realistic. Like nobody's just all good or all bad. There's a
Exactly.
mix of in between. And I like having a more rounded perspective.
Me
So
too.
yeah. So this was a fun watch. I'm hoping that we get to do more Jalo in the future. I think we will.
I'm always hoping for that. You know me, like it's like the minute that this movie started playing for my rewatch because I've seen it many times at this point in my life. There's almost like bossa nova kind of tunes in the beginning, like
Aw,
the very
yeah.
beginning, which is so of the era and I'm just like, "Oh, I am getting so happy right now because we're going into the 70s and it is like everything jello." So, I
Yes.
was so excited to rewatch this one and talk about it.
Aw, yes, anytime. We will definitely have to get more on the radar. If you like this movie or don't like this movie,
Yeah.
let us know. We'd love to hear if you think this is a slasher or not. You know, let us know
Yeah.
what you guys think. And if you've never seen this movie before, I'm so sorry we ruined the ending, but definitely go check it out.
I know. If you haven't seen it yet, then like I don't know, just like rewind, pretend that you didn't just watch and listen to this, and then watch it and then come back and listen to this.
Yeah. Hopefully you're like me when you listen to a horror podcast and you like if you don't listen to the episode until you've seen the movie. That's my biggest rule with horror podcasts. Yeah.
That's what you should do, because we definitely told you everything, and you should watch it. But you should
Yeah.
also listen to this and check this out and
Leave a
let us know
review.
what you thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you want to hear more about Giallos or just the history of Giallos. It's a very interesting topic. So, yeah,
I could gab about Jollos all night.
there will be opportunities in the future. Just you wait.
Oh, I'm ready.
And in the meantime, guys, just remember if you find yourself in a horror movie, whether it's a Giallo or a slasher, don't have sex.
Don't do drugs.
And certainly don't die. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.